Radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
All right. Welcome, Fade to Black. How you doing? How you doing? Today is Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. I'm your Jimmy Church. Let's do this, man. Yeah. What a week. What a week on Fade to Black. And not only coming up, last night, Hakeem Isler, just an absolutely amazing show. And you can help support everything that we do around here. Just get yourself a Fade to Black t-shirt. That's all you've got to do. Get a Fade to Black t-shirt. Get them both. Get a Game Changer membership. We have 2 links, 2 t-shirts. Everything is below. All right. Now, this week on Fade to Black, last night, like I just said, we had Hakeem Isler on talking about remote viewing. It was an incredible show. And Naked and Afraid, right? Tonight, Jill Jackson is here. We're going to be talking about her gifts. She also channels Solomon. We're going to talk about all of that and much more tonight. It's going to be a very wide-ranging conversation. Tomorrow night, Dr. Glenn Ryan is with us. We're going to talk about quantum consciousness, the subject of the year, right? And Thursday night, Chloe Deshevny is with us, and we're going to be talking about starseeds. So we've got a great week here on Fade to Black. Now, I do have 5 major events coming up. I've got Rise of the Guardians, March 29th and 30th, 2025, Sedona, Arizona. Contact Modalities Expo, going to the Midwest, May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2025, Delavan, Wisconsin, at Delavan Lake. Then I come back to California for Contact in the Desert. That's May 29th through June 2nd in Palm Springs, California. Then I go south to Peru with Brian Forrester for the Inca Celebration of the Sun. That is June 17th through the 27th, 2025. I've got a second tour with Brian coming up this year in November. So if you go to the Hidden Inca Tours website, you can see both tours there. I think this one in June is locked out, sold out. But you never know if a space opens up. And there's reasons why that has to be done early because of visas and everything else going into Bolivia. That all has to get set up in advance. Anyway, so Peru, Hidden Inca Tours. And then I go out to the East Coast to Charlottesville, Virginia, where I am hosting the Psy Games. That's right, Psy Games International. Psychic Games, the Psychic Olympics. And I get to be like the Richard Dawson. I get to be a game show host. You know, I am going to be on my game for the Psy Games. That's August 1st through the 3rd, 2025 in Charlottesville, Virginia. Again, the links for everything that I'm doing in 2025 are below. We've got more events coming up. I'll keep everybody posted. Tonight, Jill Jackson is with us. We're going to be talking about channeled information from Solomon. We're going to get into that. But we're going to talk about splitting timelines and their impact on our reality. We're going to discover the significance of mastering manifestation in the quantum field. Quantum, that's the word, right? And how aligning with higher frequencies can shape our desired future. All of that and much more tonight with Jill Jackson. She's right here. Good evening, Jill. How you doing? Oh, you're muted. Okay, let's try this again. Hi, Jill. Talk to me, Jill. Nope. What did you change? We just did a fantastic sound check, everybody.
Okay, how about this?
Yeah. See, I told you,
I did not touch anything.
Okay, now you did. Okay, now check this out. This is where my psychic. I am channeling Bashar right now, and I'll tell everybody. So when when we finish sound check, and this happens every night with every guest, I go, okay, don't touch anything. I'm going to pull you out. Don't do a thing.
Yeah.
That's it. And when we come back and something's changed, you can't say that you didn't touch something because you did, but that's okay.
Yep.
That's okay. It's like fibbing to your parents. I know you took the cookies. No, I didn't, Mom. You know, and you can say that all you want, and your mom knows the truth.
See, now, yeah, okay. Now it's fixed. It's good.
Okay, everything's good.
No, it just fell again. Okay, we're good.
Oh, now you're gonna hold it?
No, we're good.
Okay. Because I've got Jill sounding like $1 million right now. Now, Jill, before we get started, you get the first time guest disclaimer. You ready?
Yes.
Jill, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. Where the conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends, it ends. But we're going to end as friends. Okay? Now, you have to accept so we can move on.
I accept. Okay.
I'm going to throw you a softball, but I'm going to throw you a different kind of softball. The second question will be, when did you find out you had a superpower? But let's go before that. Your parents, your family, were they into this stuff before you?
My mom was a medium. She passed a spirit in 2016. She never wanted to do it professionally, though. She said that she didn't want that responsibility. So it kind of runs in the family.
Wait. That's great. Okay. So was mom cool?
Oh, mom was amazing.
Yeah.
She even saw in her room what she called the cloud people. They would come and visit her, these galactic aliens. They would fill up her room. And literally a woman that is in her 80s now that I sit in physical mediumship with channeled about the cloud people several years ago. And she was reading it to me. I said, no way. I've never heard of that except with my mom.
The cloud people.
That's what she called them.
Now, where did you grow up? Where did she see the cloud people? Where did she meet the cloud people?
She first met them when we lived outside of Los Angeles in Santa Clarita, but we grew up in Mississippi. I'm from Mississippi and back there now. And they started coming to her then, and then we moved to Sedona. They wouldn't come all the time. Like anytime she was feeling down or depressed or anxious about something, they would come and visit her, and she said it would fill up her entire room. And the best she could say, it looked like clouds, but faces in the cloud.
Wow. Santa Clarita, that's right down the street from me.
I know. Yes.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, I was there for 15 years.
You lived in Santa Clarita for 15 years.
I did.
How crazy is that? Saugus, the whole thing.
The whole thing. Valencia. Yep.
Yeah, Valencia. Wow. So did you go to Magic Mountain a lot?
A few times. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so weird. We have a great amusement park right down the street. I've been there like twice in 40 years.
Yeah. I think I went 3 times.
Yeah, which it's literally right over the hill from your house. And yeah, you went there 3 times in 15 years. But that's bizarre. Santa Clarita, did you know that in Santa Clarita there's a haunted ghost town?
No.
You never went there?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so you know Lyons, the street, Lyons,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you take Lyons on the other side of the 5. Okay, so
Yeah.
Santa Clarita's over here, Stevenson's Ranch and all that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You take Lyons up the hill till it dead ends. And where it dead ends, those are big houses up there. You know the house. Those are really nice homes up there.
Yes.
Anyway, but if you keep going, it turns into a dirt road. I'm not making this up. You take that dirt road about 2 miles, it winds around. It's a silver mining ghost town from the 1800s.
How did
And
I
it's
not
all
know
still
that?
there.
Wow.
I've been there. I've done ghost hunting there. And
that's
they
cool.
have the saloon. They've got a couple of houses. They've got a couple of barns. They have the schoolhouse. and the town. It's a friggin' ghost town. And it's
That's
like, what?
crazy.
In Santa Clarita.
How was the
And they
ghost?
ne-
How was the
it
paranormal
was
there?
it was pretty cool. We did that.
Yeah.
I did that in the barn and in the schoolhouse. And the schoolhouse got the desk in there. It's crazy. And they never used it for films. It looks like the
Really?
OK Corral. It looks like a shootout movie. And no, they kept it the way it was. The guy that built it, who owned the silver mine, there's a big mansion there. It's a nice house, actually. Well, it's run down after all these years, but it's together, I should say. But it's a big home. The guy that owned the silver mine owned that house, owned the town. Silver mine dried up, and he just kind of left, and he never sold it, so it stayed private. And now it sits up there. It's crazy, and it's in Santa Clarita.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Hold on for a second. Hold on. I don't do this live in the show, but I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do this now. It is called Mentryville. Frigging Mentryville.
How did I never hear about that?
Yeah. They said it's an oil town. I thought it was silver.
Okay.
But I'm looking at it right here, and let me see if this is a good. Okay, all right. Let me do Mentryville. Now check this out. This is so bizarre. So bizarre. And again, this is, no matter where you were in Santa Clarita, this is just a few miles away. There it is.
Oh my
Isn't that
gosh.
nuts?
How did I not know about this place?
Yep. And see the street. Oh, you can't see my arrow, but see the street leading at the bottom leading into town?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
frigging Lions. That's
Oh my,
Lions. Yeah.
I've got to go visit that place now. That's
Isn't that incredible? Yeah.
Yes.
There it
That's
is.
insane.
Okay. So back to your mom though. So she saw these ET entities, or however you want to call it, the ghost people in Santa Clarita. Did she communicate with them?
They never did talk. They would just come, and she said it was this feeling of love and just kind of peace running over her.
So nothing like no more nuclear war, nothing like that. The typical stuff.
No, I have information on that later, but not for her, not for my mom.
Yeah,
No.
right. My mom was like that too.
Awesome.
And she just kind of grew up and grew out of it. And I always wanted to bring her on the show so I could have her tell the stories that I tell on the show all the time. But it influenced me so much on my life and allowed me to have open eyes, and I wanted my mom to know that. And she did before she died. I talked to her about this, and she just kind of laughed. She goes, and she was doing Ouija and tarot cards, and she had 100 Edgar Casey books, and she would do automatic writing and
Oh wow.
just weird, stuff. And I just thought that was normal. But it helped me as a child to just look at the world differently. Was it the same for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Just when I would have experiences and I would go into her room and tell her about the experiences, she would say, yeah, it looked like my grandmother came to me full form floating over the bed when I was 12. And I ran into my mom's room and she said, yeah, she was just in here visiting me as well. So yeah, it did help shape who I am.
And when did you, now here's the other softball, but when did you find out you had the gift?
So it's as far back as I can remember. The difference was that when I was a toddler, I could see the spirit world, but I didn't start hearing them until I was 12. My grandmother was the first one that I actually heard. The rest of them I could only see, and I didn't know what they were doing in my house.
Well, did you understand what was going on?
Sort of. I didn't really start talking to my mom about it until I was 12, really. And that's when my grandmother came to me, and I ran in my mom's room. And then my mom started opening up more and more about her gifts after that. But
What did your
before that,
grandmother say?
she just said, "I'm not sick anymore." She called it heaven because, she was raised religious, and she said, "Heaven is beautiful more than anything you could imagine. And I just wanted to let you know that I'm okay. Don't worry about me anymore." And she was full form, like I'm seeing you right now, floating above my bed. It was so beautiful.
I've never had that experience.
Really?
I want it. I talk about it all the time. I've never had that experience. I live in a haunted house. I've got ghosts all over the place. I don't know any of them.
Do you just
You
see them
know,
as shadows? Do you like feel them?
it's different. It's different. Um, Before we get really sideways into that, because I can talk all night on that subject. Um, a lot of stuff gets moved here.
Okay.
There's a lot of poltergeist activity. I see stuff all the time, and I just kind of laugh it off now.
Yeah.
If it only happened like once or twice, it would be a bigger deal to me,
Yeah.
but it happens all the time. So I'm going to use a bad word. I just don't give a shit.
Right.
I don't. I
Yeah.
really, I don't let it affect me. And the other part, and I want your comment on this. I live alone. And I think that is an important point. If I allowed it to freak me out, I'd scare myself into psychosis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would be seeing a doctor, and because I don't have anybody here. I don't have a dog. If I had a dog, maybe I would freak out a little bit, because you could hang out with your dog, at least something, a
Yeah.
fish, but I don't have any of that. And so I need to have a more cooperative position with what is going on here. And so, yeah, I just ignore it now.
Have you tried to talk to them, Jimmy?
I talk to him every day. What do you mean? We have a relationship, you know, and like I said, what's the alternative? I don't know who they are. Would you, if you had, what's the advice you would give to somebody that has something in their house? Do they sage? Do you bring in a professional? Um, are you salting the door sills? You know what I mean? What
Yeah.
advice do you give to somebody that is having visitations?
It depends. I mean, somebody definitely, a medium needs to tune in and see what kind of energy they are. Are they someone that is just still on the earth plane and hasn't crossed to the light? Because that's what most poltergeist activity is. Or, sometimes it's more evil, and then you're going to want to have somebody come in and try to help. That's more with the shadow people. They'll leave.
Well, how do you know if it's bad news? You just use the word evil. How do you know if it's bad news?
Well, they'll leave broken glass. I've only experienced that twice in all of these
Mhm.
years, and I've lived in two houses where that actually happened, and it took several of us mediums to be able to move that type of entity on out of there. But that's not the norm. The norm is, I mean, when my husband and I moved in the house we're in now 4 years ago, there was a old man living in there and his son as well. And we worked with them for a while, and we just kept talking to them, and we finally helped them to the light, and they pop in every once in a while to say hello, but they don't live there anymore.
I have really fun dinner parties over here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a good time for sure. But um, but if I have 10 or 15 people over, one, and I invite a diverse crowd. right? I don't want everybody from the same side of the fence, but there'll always be a medium, and they'll come in and they'll go, ho, 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 ho. Wow, this is fun, and they can tell and they can feel it. Jimmy, let me tell you, now, I don't want to know. No, stop. I don't want to know. I honestly, I don't want to know.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't think it's interesting.
Why?
I think it's a choice. Well, like I said, the alternative is a hassle.
True.
And I think that you're opening up a can of worms that, if you're not, like you said, broken glass, if you're not getting stabbed in the back by flying knives out of the drawer, right? Well, it's not that bad.
Right.
So that's where I'm at with it. So okay, so check this out. Last night, have you ever listened to Creepy Pasta?
No.
Okay. Do it.
Okay.
Creepy Pasta is an audio series that started on probably YouTube maybe 10, 15 years ago, maybe longer now. YouTube started in 2007. So, but it's a big, and now you can get Creepypasta podcast stuff. Anyway, it's scary stories that you listen to in the dark. All right.
Wow.
And some of it is pretty gnarly. I mean, like, it's really creative writing. That's where Slender Man came from. Okay, Slender Man came from Creepypasta. So last night, Jill, I'm not making this up. Last night, I was just like, all right, I'm done with physics for a while. No more UFO stuff. Oh, man, let's listen to some Creepypasta. So I dial up some Creepypastas after the show last night. I'm in bed, and I turn out the lights. I lie down. I'm in my bed. I'm in the dark, right? And the first story comes up, and I'm scared. I can't even close my eyes. I'm like sitting there with my eyes open in the dark, listening to the story. And it gets to the second one. And by the time it got to the second one, I started to hear stuff in my house. Yeah. Yeah. And I was, oh, man. I got up, I turned on the lights, I went back and I pulled up a book on science, Egypt, ancient history, and changed gears.
I know. I was going to say, why do you do that to yourself?
It's fun, and if you can somehow get to sleep listening to that stuff, really good dreams.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, really good dreams. But here's the thing with everything that you and I are talking about. You just mentioned, I don't want to let this get away from us. You live in Mississippi now.
Yes.
That's the Bible Belt.
Yes.
I mean, that is as religious as any, well, no, that whole section of the country. Okay. But you are in the middle of that crazy part of the country. You can drive down any country road anywhere in Mississippi and you will see a church.
Yes, Mississippi actually has more churches per capita than any other state in the country.
Hands down. No question about it. No question about it. And I've been to a few of those churches in Mississippi. Anyway, with what we're talking about now and with what you do and your family and everything else, is there a conflict of interest there?
You would think so, but when I opened the metaphysical shop, everybody said, don't open it, don't open it. People are going to be burning crosses out in the front. We only had a few people come in, like this is a really funny story. She came in because we had massage and Reiki and things like that too. So she came in to get a gift certificate and she says to my husband, this Middle Eastern stuff in here is really, really making me uncomfortable. I'm a Jesus lover. And my husband looks at her and says, wasn't Jesus from the Middle East? And her mouth just dropped open like it never clicked in her head. And then she said, what are you pushing here? And he said, non-judgment. And again, kind of went over her head there. But other than that, no, we had over 10,000 clients that visited
In
us
Mississippi. In
in, Miss,
Mississippi.
in Mississippi. Yeah.
That's
it's-
incredible.
yeah.
Is it because were you like the first in town doing this where people are coming out of the woodwork? Oh, thank goodness there's a place for us to hang out.
No, there were a couple of other metaphysical shops, I believe, in like the early 2000s, and then they shut down and they kind of went dark for a while. And then, yeah, when we came back in, they were really excited to have a place to go. But yeah, there were a few other psychics there, not many.
Are there Christian Bible thumpers that would come to your shop too as well to
Not
get
a lot.
healing, to get some Reiki?
We actually had some politicians from Mississippi coming and getting Reiki. But, a few Bible thumpers would come. But most of the people that were coming, like if they would come for a mediumship, they would say, my pastor told me I was going to go to hell if I have this mediumship session with you. Are you sure I'm not going to? And I said, well, hell would have to exist if that were a thing, and it doesn't. So, no, I think we're good.
Crazy.
Beyond crazy.
That's crazy. So, no, it's not crazy that the pastor said it. I expect the pastor to say it. He's got to do his job. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's that somebody went to the pastor to ask permission.
Exactly.
That's the crazy part.
Very true.
I mean, what was he expecting the pastor to say? No, go ahead, man. Check it out. Yeah, man. I got crystal. I do the chakra therapy. I've activated 8 chakras, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, the pastor's going to say just that.
Right.
And so business out of the gate, it was just booming.
It took a little while for people to find out about us, but yeah, we had people driving from Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee, all over Mississippi. Yeah.
And were you raised Southern Baptist?
I was. Yeah, my first book. Yeah, my first book was Mississippi Medium from Southern Baptist to Talking to the Dead.
So exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
How many times a week did you go to church growing up?
Just the once. We didn't do the whole Wednesday and all of
Right.
that. So just on Sunday.
My Aunt Barb, I went and stayed with her. I was probably 11 or 12. And I went to stay with her for a couple of months during summer vacation, right?
Yeah.
Like 6th grade, 7th grade. I don't want to say what part of but in that area, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, church, it was like 5 days a week.
Oh, wow.
And so, and little tiny church too. It was crazy. No air conditioning. I mean, it was tiny, and I probably held maybe 50, 100 people packed, I would guess. But there was a second floor with a gabled roof where they had the Bible study and stuff. And that was upstairs, ultra hot, sweaty. So anyway, my first week there, she was like, okay, we're going to church. I was like, okay, all right. Okay, we're going to church. What? We went last night. Okay, we're going to church. That first week I went 5 times all the way through Sunday. And I'm like, I'm done. I'll go on Sundays, Aunt Barbara. I'll go on Sundays the rest of the time. But yeah.
That's
wow.
incredible.
Yeah. Very dedicated. But so if you had these gifts with the Southern Baptist, which is a strong religion,
Yeah.
how did that conflict?
I just kept it really quiet. And even in high school, only one of my friends knew that I was a medium. And, I would have the same experiences that you were talking about, the doors opening and closing and spirits walking around all the time. But I kept it very, very quiet. But one thing that had me finally leave the church is just kind of the hypocrisy, and then hearing them talk about that my gifts are evil because, it's a gift from Creator and it's beautiful. And so that started kind of weighing heavily. And then just witnessing the hypocrisy. The pastor was having an affair with the choir director and up there teaching about adultery. And I'm like, okay, this is just not for me any longer.
Well, isn't it full of hypocrisy if you can talk to God, talk to angels, pray to these beings that nobody can see, and then turn around and say that your gifts are it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I write about that in my first book as well. Yes.
It's so important to point out. But when you say these things to somebody that is fundamental, that is raised a certain way, you're not going to do anything to change their mind. You can't do that. You can't reason somebody off of a belief system that they were taught since they were raised and since they were born, which I get that, I understand, but it kind of flips back the other way. Somebody that is religious will try to get you to change your mind. And again, no amount of reasoning. You have to change it yourself. Somebody's not going to convince you to change.
Exactly. And a lot of people, even in Mississippi, started having experiences themselves, like having paranormal experiences and then trying to find answers. And that's what kind of led them to find us. And then little by little, that dogma started breaking away, slow steps. And then they started realizing that there was more to what we were told in the church.
How does it happen? The opening of the eyes and hearing and seeing and understanding something that is from another dimension, a parallel world, whatever you want to label it. None of us really know for sure. How does that happen? Is it at the quantum level? I just said the quantum word again. Is it consciousness? Is there something else going on?
It depends. Sometimes it's a portal that those people have stepped into and not understanding that they're in a portal. And when they're in that portal, then they start having these experiences that they cannot explain away. And then sometimes their vibration does raise to a certain frequency and they're tapped into that quantum and the veil is thinned and they start receiving paranormal experiences that they cannot reason away.
And what do you call a paranormal experience? Because so many things can happen during a day with somebody that doesn't have their eyes open. They're not paying attention, right? But if you're paying attention, things can happen and you need to stop and recognize. So when you say a paranormal experience, give us an example?
Well, a lot of them truly were seeing people in their house. They were hearing things like what you're talking about. Sometimes they would start hearing voices in their head. Sometimes they would start receiving, downloads of information or prophetic visions that ended up coming true. Some of them would dream about someone either having an accident or passing away, and then that would happen. And then that tends to freak people out when they're not understanding what's going on.
Well, how important is it to pay attention?
Very important. Very important. And that's what my joy is helping people understand that we are so much more than our physical bodies. And when we can start breaking away those chains of illusion and understanding that that's what all of this is, it's just an illusion. And
I feel so much empathy and sadness for anybody that doesn't want to. I'm trying to be really kind here. I don't want to offend, half of the world.
Yeah.
That want to exist in a 2D world. That just are comfortable with going to work, paying taxes, coming home, watching the news, eating dinner, going to bed, and doing that 4 more times, coming home on Friday, cutting the grass on Saturday, you know what I mean? Watching the game on Sunday, going back to work on Monday, and not thinking about any of it, not questioning. The world is a great, beautiful, the universe is unbelievably cool, but they don't care. I feel sadness for those that don't even consider or ponder what may be out there.
But think about it Jimmy, because, in a lot of ways, when we train our brains to be on these constant loops like that, it becomes robotic, right? And so it's such a robotic day-to-day reality for them.
Comfortable. They don't want to
Yeah,
be uncomfortable.
right. And so it's the norm that they understand, and they don't want to step away from that at all. And yeah, I feel sad for that as well.
Well, so many, and everybody just listen to me. And if you're listening to this show later, and this is your first time, listen to my words. Too often, we are taught commercials, school, stories, our parents, movies, that the gift of life, the reason for living, right, is a 3-car garage and a pool. That's your goal. That is your gift. That is happiness. So your whole life, 1-car garage, first house, right?
Yeah.
2-car garage, 10 years later, stepped up, and then 30 years later, 3-car garage, 40 years later, you're retiring. You got your 4-car garage and you got your pool in the backyard, and you're 63 years old. And you step out and you go, it's over. I'm not happy. I was told this was the answer to life, and they just wasted it. And that's the crazy part. Society has set us up with this illusion of our goal for life and what happiness is.
Absolutely. And even though I have so much respect for the secret and even the law of attraction teachings that came out, the book The Secret 20 years ago, in a lot of ways, Jimmy, that kind of perpetuated that same false narrative. And that's why I wrote the book that I did, to bring that law with the other spiritual laws into the consciousness level that we're at right now, because that's not what it's all about.
Yeah. My happiness is tripping out. That's my
Yes.
happiness, and things that you just can't explain. I'm seeking answers. I really don't care if I get to the answers. The journey getting to those answers is wonderful. It's such a great experience, and it's the people around me that bring me that joy.
Absolutely. And the connections, and the evolution of the soul, because like you said, we're all seekers, and hopefully we continue that seeking journey until we take our last breath, and even on to the other side, because the loved ones that I talk to on the other side are still expanding their soul. So many people have this narrative that they get their angel wings, and all of a sudden they're just these higher vibrational beings. No, they're continuing the evolution even on the other side.
Last night on the show, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I brought up a movie. It's called King Gimp. It's a documentary, won an Academy Award in the late 90s. It's about this kid, Daniel Keplinger, who is paralyzed from the neck down. And the movie documents his entire life. Okay. Today, he's a world famous artist, painter, fine artist, does portrait work, other stuff. Tremendously gifted, but he paints with his forehead. He's got a headband, paintbrush comes out of the front, and that's how he paints. He's in a wheelchair. He can't move, but he bends down, gets a drop of paint, splats it on the thing, drop of paint, splats on, and in the end, his work is incredible. That is somebody that you watch that film and then you sit back and go, I wasted my life.
It's
Here's
incredible.
somebody that went and, you know what, could have bowed down to society, tapped out, right? But didn't. And that's incredible to me. It is
Absolutely.
absolutely, it's just, oh man. So anyway, to that end, channeling is something altogether different for me. I've interviewed a lot of channelers. I've done a lot of channeling sessions. I host Bashar's events. It's no secret to anybody. And Daryl Link is amazing. And I follow so many great channelers out there. But there's also a lot of bullshit.
Hmm.
There is. There really is.
Yeah.
So let's don't talk about the BS. But how does channeling actually happen? Do you remember the first time? Was it like a lightning bolt?
I do remember the first time. It was not expected. I've been a medium and a psychic, and it was in 2014 was the very first time that I channeled. And after that, another medium told me that if mediums start channeling, that they lose their mediumship connections. And do you know that I started buying into that false narrative? And so out of fear, I stepped away because I was earning my living as a medium. And I thought, well, I don't want to lose my mediumship gifts. And so many people think that, Jimmy. I've had other people say, well, you can't be a medium and a channel both. But actually you can. It's just different frequencies. When you're tapping in as a medium, most of our loved ones that transition are in the 5th dimension. I mean, some have elevated to the 6th and 7th, but not most of them. Most of them are in the 5th dimension. And so it's just a different frequency.
Why? I've heard a little bit of that too as well. It's the old saying, right? A square can be a rectangle.
Yeah.
Rectangle can't be a square, kind of thing. And I've heard the same thing, but I'll back up and say, wait a minute. Everything is connected. I mean, everything, right? So,
Yes.
Ghost, Jesus dying on the cross and resurrection, same thing.
Yeah.
Interdimensional beings, ET, angels, right?
Exactly.
It's the leprechauns,
Yes.
Martians, little green men. I don't care. Just pick something, and everything is connected. And I think that we are always talking about the same thing. But back then, when these first experiences and encounters started to happen, they didn't have the right words to use.
Exactly. The terminology, and even with everybody became a medium when they were really a channel after the success of, the Long Island Medium show. And I kind of get on my soapbox and I teach my students, understand what channel you're actually tuning into. Are you getting this information psychically? Are you getting it mediumistically? Or are you channeling the higher galactic realms? Because they're all very different. So I teach my students how to understand, the different frequencies and what they're tapped into.
So okay, here's the $1 million question. I ask every channel the same thing, by the way, so can't wait to hear your answer. When you channel specifically Solomon for you, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So not King Solomon, everybody. This is an entity, a being called Solomon. Not unlike, say, Bashar, right? Okay.
Right.
So how far away is Solomon?
He's in the 9th dimension. And in my understanding, it's not that they're sitting on a planet out in outer space somewhere. So, we're residing in the 3rd dimensional frequency. Many of us have integrated 5th dimension into our everyday life, and I teach that, and that's what my book is about. But the first group that I channeled was a seventh dimensional group consciousness collective. And then Solomon started coming in more to my awareness only in 2022. So not that long ago with him.
Okay, that was my next question. You said him. Who
Well,
is Solomon?
he tells me that he's a group collective, group consciousness from the Pleiades, ninth dimensional. I feel that he's more masculine, but of course, they don't have gender like we do. And he has had an incarnation here on this planet, but not very many.
Okay, but now you just said he and him a few times.
Yeah.
So you feel that he is a he.
When he was incarnated here on this planet, he incarnated as a male, but primarily his incarnations and experiences have been interdimensional, but mostly Pleiadian. And now he's more of a group consciousness. And when I've asked him, to explain that, like how many are in the group, because as humans, we kind of understand, we want linear.
We don't get it. No, yeah, we
don't
don't get that.
We want numbers, like, when you say we, because when he channels through me, most of the time it's we, and it's that. And the best he can explain is, and he said in our human terms, we would kind of understand that it's like 7 to 9 individuals, but it's more of a collective overlay. Expansion of the soul is the best way that he's that Solomon has explained it to me.
You just made absolutely zero sense to my brain.
Yeah, trust me.
Do you understand that when he said it?
No, not really.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough to understand. And, it's so interesting, Jimmy, because I get information as a psychic that's very, very different than the information that Solomon channels through. And the information from Solomon has helped me so much, and especially with the chaos that's going on right now, kind of understanding the co-creation, and even the more far out information that he's channeled, and I say he, but that the group has channeled recently, was something. I was never good with science when I was in school, so I don't understand physics. I don't understand science as a human. And so the channeling twice recently, in probably the last 3 or 4 months, Solomon said that we need to understand that the photon belt is accelerating. And I was like, is that even a thing? Like, the photon belt, was his exact words, are accelerating. And what Solomon said is that this is going back to creation energy, that if we can understand creation energy, and it's an acceleration to help us shift to this new earth paradigm that many of us have been channeling about for so many years. And that it's also that energy is propelling us further to reduce and eliminate our limiting beliefs, because many times as humans, we're our worst enemies and what we can accomplish because of our limiting beliefs.
Physicists don't understand physics. You understand that, right? So they don't. You're fine with that. But you had never heard of the photon belt before that?
Never.
And its relation to the Pleiades.
Yes, I believe it. Yeah, when I looked it up later, yes, and I was, that's what's so incredible about this information. And I'm a full trance channel, so I don't even have recollection of what is channeled through when I am channeling. Lately, the more Solomon integrates with my energy, I will remember a few words. And then when the people that are listening to it start asking questions and say, this is what was said, it'll kind of click. But to feel the full effect of it, I go back and listen to the recording myself several times, sometimes to kind of try to understand.
Yeah, that's fascinating. That is so. Let's get back to Solomon's origins and the collective consciousness and the collective. Bashar, according to Bashar, he's in a ship above planet Earth. He's parked there.
Okay.
So that's easy for us humans, us Neanderthal types like me. You can tell I have the sloping forehead. In that we can understand that, right? Okay, there's a ship there. You're talking to some dude, telepathy, you're channeling, but at least the ship is. But when we are talking about something else altogether, where this is an all-knowing, all-seeing being, where time is different and everything else, and it exists everywhere. It's maybe originated from another galaxy or star system, but Solomon and his 8 friends are energy fields, right?
But Solomon has shown me as well. And even one occasion, that was only about 6 months ago, during the channeling, Solomon actually pulled my physical awareness, kind of like astral travel. This had never happened before. My awareness was pulled onto the craft, and I was sitting in a chair on that craft with Solomon during the channeling. Now that's only happened one time. And when I ask,
You're
why?
in a full trance situation at this point.
Yes, full trance.
Okay, so to you, this was physical. This was as real as anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
it was, because I mean I was looking around and seeing the ship. I was sitting in a
You know
chair.
what I'm going to ask next. Okay, so what did you see?
It was like a silver, and it wasn't that big, and I was just in a chair, and I could not see what Solomon looked like. It was just the energy was there in the room. So Solomon did not take a physical form in front of me. And again, Jimmy, that's only happened one time. That's not the norm either. And then when I try to ask these human questions like, why that time, and why, is that not happening all the time? And what Solomon said is that I needed that experience for further integration of that energy, and it was easier for them to kind of bring my awareness there.
Was he okay? So only one chair?
Yes.
I mean, were there other beings? No, so just one chair.
It was one chair in the middle of.
Were there windows or anything? Or
no, I didn't see. I didn't see.
How
any
did you
windows.
know it was a ship? It could have been underground. It could have been a one-room church in Mississippi.
No. It looked metallic is the best way I can describe it. It looked very clinical, I guess is a good word to describe it.
But no details. What was on the walls? Were there
Nothing.
tables? So it was just a room with nothing?
It was a room with nothing. And again, I was just sitting in this chair in the middle of the room.
How long were you there with Solomon?
Under that night, I think I channeled for like 30 minutes. So not that long.
Okay, so 30 minutes. What was the conversation?
A lot of different information. Some information that Solomon, I call him, he is channeling about to remind us that water carries a vibrational frequency, and that if we would start infusing energy in our water before we drink it, that humanity would elevate our consciousness so much easier, and we would have more of a healing journey as well. Solomon has also channeled information about the solar flares that we are experiencing, but Solomon actually calls them solar codes of expansion and says that there's energy coming through these solar flares to also help accelerate our consciousness as well.
Why the interest in us?
That's
Why
a
did they
great,
give a crap? Yeah, why did
yeah,
they give a crap?
because many times a lot of different galactics don't have empathy in the same ways that humans do. And they're also interested in our ego and our higher self and witnessing how we learn to balance the two. What they've shown me as well is that as we expand as humanity, as our consciousness expands, that also helps accelerate their expansion as well, because we're all connected.
I want you to do me a favor. The next time you channel Solomon, I want you to go, okay, Saul, baby. Jimmy Church has got a question for you. Okay. And I'm being very serious right now. Okay.
Okay.
You need to ask Saul, how did they do it? How did they survive? I think that's
Right.
the key question. For us on this planet, I get the water and frequency. I get that. And consciousness is a big deal to me. I talk about this every
Yeah.
day on the show, and our need to get things elevated and to understand what consciousness is. I get all of that.
Yeah.
But that's all trivial. It's
True.
trivial. The non-trivial, the big question, the most important question is, how do we survive? How do we make it through this? Because we are on the edge of not doing that, of not
Absolutely.
having a future. To have beings visit this planet, that means they grew up. So I want to know how. Give me that. That's the secret part too. You and I
Okay.
will write the book and we'll make the movie together. But
Beautiful.
you understand what I'm saying? That's my
Yes.
question. So how did you
Yeah.
do it?
Okay. So, well, one thing that Solomon has said during channeling is that through the galactic councils, that they are required to follow the spiritual law of free will, and that they are not allowed to interfere with humanity, other than they will interfere in nuclear. And that's what we talked about earlier. And they have done that. I mean, there's been plenty of accounts where they have shut down nuclear facilities, but Solomon has said that they're able to interfere in that regard, because a nuclear explosion would actually affect other life forms throughout the galaxy as well, not just our planet.
Well, again, that would make sense. And I get that. But there's something fundamental. And I don't know. We need that answer. We don't need a cure for cancer. You know, we don't need help with our nuclear weapon. We do need a cure for cancer. Yes, we got to figure out this nuclear weapon stuff. No more bullets, no more war. I understand that. I'm not naive, but that's not it. That's not going to get us where we need to go. And we need somebody to just throw us a little bone, a little hint on how to survive. Because no matter what, asteroids, cosmic disaster, CMEs, another pandemic or two, right? How about an alien invasion? You know, we'll have to survive that too as well. But no, we have to survive each other. All that other stuff, we can figure it out. We can figure that stuff out. We have to find a way to survive us. And how do we do that? And we've been trying to do that for thousands of years. And we can't get out of our own way, can we?
No, absolutely not. But a lot of it, Jimmy, is us learning truly to unplug from the matrix. And I mean, I know there's been movie after movie and we talk about it, but do we actually do it? Do we actually take those forwards? Do we take those steps to understand how to unplug from it?
I
No,
do. I know. I do.
I do as well, but
I,
most people don't.
I preach this.
Yeah.
I preach it. I have grown in the last 13, 14 years since I started broadcasting. I have grown so much as a person. And when I tell people, and they think it's because I interview so many people and I ask questions and I learn so much. Yeah, that's part of it for sure. No, you know what's part of it? For 4 hours a night, I'm not on my phone.
Right.
For 4 hours a night, I'm talking to another human being. And I ask people, can you put down your phone for 4 hours and sit and talk to somebody? People go in the show, why would I do that? You know,
Yeah.
they can't.
No.
I do not ever watch the news.
Me either.
Ever, 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 ever. I don't even have it.
Me
I
either.
don't. We had these fires here in LA. Everybody knows what happened. So, yes, I watch the news then. KTLA here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Why? Well, I've got friends and family, and we need to protect our towns and everything else. And it was crazy. So, yeah, I watched. That's it. And I did that because it was a necessity. But anything else? No, I don't watch the news. I'm not polluted or contaminated by any of that. And I have grown as a person.
Absolutely. And so many people are on that hamster wheel that we talked about earlier. And even it's to the point where they don't even go outside. Everything is purchased online. They just sit there and shop. There's no connection with other humans. There's no sense of unity and connection and learning from each other, being in each other's energy. And, part of the negative elite, as you want to call them, that still have control over this planet, do so by creating these illusions of fear and this indoctrination to believe the separation and the division and on and on and on. And then people force feed that. And one thing that Solomon did share as well is that the fear energy from humans actually is the food source for the negative beings that are controlling those who are keeping our earth in turmoil. And so when we can understand to move through the energy of fear and break down that barrier as well, then they lose the grasp of control. And then people start leaving those shackles behind and understanding the true freedom.
The other day, I can't say where I was. I can't give that away. But I'm out doing some stuff. And a conversation came up with somebody who is like a sales manager of this corporation and says, blah, blah, blah. Totally what came out of his mouth, and it doesn't matter, I'm not going to say what it was, totally media-driven, stuck in a bubble narrative comment. And I just backed up. Now, I could have responded. I could have said something, fuel to the fire, whatever. I just backed up, changed gears, and went, oh, man, I love tacos. Whatever it was, I just changed gears. And that's, I don't want to be that person.
No.
And it's scary to think that there are billions of people on this planet now that are driven by fear.
Yes, absolutely. And what's interesting too, Jimmy, is a lot of these people are actually people that have gone through the awakening process, and then they end up going down all of these rabbit holes. And so, there's truth. There's a little bit of truth to everything, right? I mean, we can find truth in almost anything. But what happens is when people start going through rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole until you finally reach the point of insanity, then that's when the indoctrination begins again. That is similar to religious indoctrination.
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
It's
Yes.
100% the same thing.
Yes.
That stuff was learned thousands of years ago.
Yes.
That rule book is in play word for word today. 100%. And this is the other crazy part. We are earthlings first. And we don't get that. The Declaration of Independence, I'm not getting political. The Declaration of Independence, first 3 words, right? Or 4. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is our community. That's our little UFO light crystal chakra, right? That's
Yes.
our community. That's how we live by. Everybody come on in, let it all hang out. That's what we do here. And, we are the United Colors of Benetton, man. Bring it.
Exactly.
Right? We have lost sight of that, not only for this country, but for the world.
Yes.
Nobody's allowed to be happy anymore.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to pursue anything if that makes you different.
Right.
It's what?
It's utter insanity. And if we can just find our joy, it's so simple. It really is simple, Jimmy, that, just to find joy. And we can find joy. We have a choice every day when we wake up. We can desire to have a crappy day or we can have a joyful day. It's our choice.
Today I was at the dentist, 3 hours in the chair.
Mm.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of sucky, right?
Yeah. It's kind of sucky.
No, not for me.
Good. That's
Thank
amazing.
you that I have the opportunity to sit in a dentist chair.
Yes.
How many people on this planet don't have that opportunity ever in their lives?
That's beautiful.
No, man. Root canal today. Let's go. Whatever,
Yeah.
And although it sounds like comedy, it is not.
No.
When ET visits this planet, he is visiting I just said he.
Yeah.
Yeah. All ETs have PPs. Anyway, they are visiting Earthlings. You know what I mean? They're not visiting this. No. And we've really got to move past that.
Absolutely.
If you just said Pleiadian, right? Zeta Reticuli, Alpha Centauri, Mars.
Yeah.
If you come from Mars, you are a Martian. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What about Jupiter? What are you if you're from Jupiter?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's pop that up in the chat.
Yeah.
If you are from Jupiter. The only thing from high school that I retained, 2 semesters of typing class. Best thing I ever did. Did you take typing class in school?
I don't think I did.
Oh, man, I did. Best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody just said Jovian. Is that right?
Jovian.
Is that right? Oh, yeah. Okay, so we've got it. See, I got a pretty smart.
Yeah, you do.
Smart. Okay, which way is it spelled? I want to know. Yes. Okay, so we've got Jupiterian. So what do you call an Armenian that only eats vegetables?
What?
A vegetarian.
Vegetarian. Yes.
A vegetarian.
A vegetarian. That's
Let's
awesome.
take our break right here. Our guest tonight, Jill Jackson. We're talking about channeling Solomon, but we've got a lot of other stuff we're going to cover when we come back. This is Jimmy Church. Fade to Black. Stay with us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button right now. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and get the Fade to Black official podcast. 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial free for just $2 a month. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's Fade to Black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? How you doing? Jimmy Church here. Special announcement. Get your Fade to Black t-shirts. That's right. Help support the show. Help support everything that we do over here. We've got 2 t-shirts. We've got 2 ways to get them. Get your Fade to Black t-shirt today. Go Backley Tappy. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut. Today we're headed to Bolivia, Tiwanaku, Peru, and of course, Bumapunku. Brian, exciting. Thank you so much for everything, my friend.
Always an honor. Right behind us is the sacred river of the Inca that goes past Machu Picchu. So we're going to be driving up to its source at 15,000 feet above sea level and then down to Lake Titicaca.
So today we hit 15,000 feet.
Yes.
Crazy. And you can do it with us. All you have to do is go to hiddenincatours.com. Simple. We've got 2 tours coming up next year, one in June for the summer solstice, right? And then another one right here in November. So hiddenincatours.com. Come and hang out with Brian and I and his amazing team.
Right on.
River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com. All right. Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Jill Jackson is with us. Jill's website is below. We'll talk about that later on in the show, too, as well. And we have it there throughout social media and, of course, over on our website. And tonight we're talking about, well, lots of things. Channeling and what it is to be a medium and to have these gifts and so much more. But Jill, I kind of wanted to change gears a little bit for the second half of the show. And this is about teaching. And I love learning. I do. It's my thing. It's if I won the lottery, seriously, if I won the lottery, I would go back to college. I'm 61. I would go back to college for the rest of my life. Well, I would continue to see the world and I would still do the show, but I would go back to college.
What would you
I would.
study? What would you study?
Uh, everything.
Everything.
Yeah, everything. Ancient history is a huge interest of mine, but science, physics. I was never good at math, but I'll take another crack at it. Yeah, I would just bring it. Art history. Yeah, I'd probably get into some geopolitics too as well, and some political history. But that's what I would do. I would stay away from business and other things, but I would I can't get enough of it. I love learning. So, and I love a great teacher, somebody that I can get something from. You teach about shadow and also limiting beliefs. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so many of us, when we're trying to learn about intuition and our gifts and everything, really want to only learn the fun parts. They want to learn how to do the pendulum and oracles and tarot cards and all of that. And many times they forget to do their own work. And it's important for us to do our own work. And what happens, Jimmy, is our traumas become stored in the subconscious mind. And we can even bring traumas forth from past lives in that are stored in the subconscious mind. And when we have not delved into those aspects of ourselves and peel those onion layers back, so to speak, then it makes it more challenging to get from the thinking state of the conscious mind to the superconscious mind, because between the conscious mind and the superconscious mind is the subconscious. And the more that we can delve into our own traumas and heal that and kind of clear the way, I liken it to seeing the forest for the trees. If you're in a thick forest, it's kind of the same. If we have those limiting beliefs, which are created from traumas, from people saying to us, "You're not enough. You'll never be successful. You're not smart enough to go to college." All of these false narratives and these limiting beliefs, what happens, they get anchored there in the subconscious mind. And then that creates more of the fears from the ego. I mean, we all have an ego. It's part of us. And I teach my students, we don't, you hear about the death of the ego. We don't want to kill the ego. It's an aspect of ourselves, but we really want to get to a place where we understand if something in our behavior is coming from the ego or if we are receiving guidance from the higher self. And a lot of people get that confused. But when we do our shadow work and peel those onion layers back, it makes it much easier to really navigate that.
Okay. Did you do shadow work on yourself?
Yes, I'm still doing it.
Right.
Yeah, yes. And it's so interesting because, so many of us, it's kind of the energy. I just channeled the energy of March earlier today and put it up on my YouTube. And so many of us are kind of re-examining traumas and things that we thought we had worked through from so many years ago, and they're kind of resurfacing, not like they were before, but a smaller percentage to allow us to kind of fully heal from those, because it's part of that shift in consciousness as well. And when we bring more light, we talk about ascending, we talk about reaching fifth dimension, and what it is, it's just more light codes, light frequencies coming into the physical body. And the more that we integrate that light in, it's more important than ever to dive into those limiting beliefs that are trapped in the subconscious mind, because that's where the triggers come out.
Limiting beliefs are probably crazy or more important than shadow work.
I feel like they're the same. They're kind of one and the same.
I knew you were going to say that. That's fine. That's fine. But so many are trapped with those limiting beliefs. that could blossom and just go and do the crazy, but no, that's what's holding them back.
It is, and some of my greatest joy, when I had the school in Mississippi, and I had a year-long program where people would come and they would start the intuitive development or the mediumship development, and I can't tell you the difference in them walking in with these limiting beliefs and even saying, I don't have any gifts. I don't know why I'm here. I'll never be a psychic. I'll never be able to blah, 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 blah. Those false narratives that and by the end of the journey of the year, me helping them peel those layers back and then teaching them tools to build the confidence. And literally by the end of level 4, when they're reading for other people in the community and giving full-blown psychic readings and mediumship readings, I would just have tears coming down my face because I would remember that person who walked in with no confidence in the beginning.
I tell people all the time, and I only learned this. I didn't have somebody giving me advice or anything. I just tripped and fell a lot. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
I'm being straight.
Yeah.
And you learn from that. And what I found, everybody, I just brought up happiness earlier. Happiness is a crazy word. And you can't get to true happiness unless you chase your bliss and you're honest with yourself. Those limiting beliefs hold people back from being honest with them. They're lying. They
Yes.
are lying to themselves.
Yes.
Pinocchio, right? They're lying. What is it that really will make you happy? What is it? Only you know. Only you know. I can't give that to you, right?
Yes. But the key, Jimmy, is knowing our soul's journey and that purpose. Because think about it, when we go through life not understanding what our soul's journey was meant to be, from before we incarnated, it feels
Sure.
chaotic. It feels unsettling. And so it's a little more challenging to find that true joy and happiness when we feel like we don't have a blueprint that we're following, right?
And you wonder where the bitterness and the fear comes from,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right? You if you just realign and just little baby steps, it's not going to happen overnight. And that's the other thing, isn't it? In
Yes.
this world of instant ramen noodles,
Yes.
right? Everything
Yeah.
has got to be now. Order from Amazon, and if you don't get it the next day, you don't get it from Amazon,
Right.
right? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's just like
Yes.
crazy how we want this thing that's instant. No, it takes a little bit of work, but like you said, 3, 4, 5 months down the road, you don't even recognize that person anymore, and they don't recognize themselves.
No, they do not. When they start the journey, I tell them this is the journey of the turtle, not the journey of the rabbit, because integrating higher frequencies and peeling back those false narratives and that dogmatic chains that we've all been conditioned, is throughout our lives to believe, take a while to kind of unlock those chains and get down to the core of who we truly are.
And how do we get rid of negative people?
It's so interesting because the more that we raise our own vibrational frequency, they're kind of fading away, honestly. And it's a resonance. Solomon explains it like it's not just vibration and frequency like we understand it. It's a true resonance of energy. So the more that we've raised our vibrational frequency, I'm sure many of your listeners have had people tell them, you've changed and I don't like you anymore. I don't understand you. Oh, you mean I evolved? I grew? I expanded my awareness and my consciousness? Yes, that's what this human incarnation is about.
Surrounding yourself with positivity and positive people is in my opinion, it's one of the key things that you can do. And that helps with the shadow work. That helps with the the limiting thought patterns and stuff, where you are around people that will support and encourage and are happy, that have a smile on their face, and that doesn't slow you down. Negative people put you in slow motion. They're holding you down.
Absolutely. And the positive people, it is this residual ripple effect of energy, because when two or more gather, there's something to that, when two or more gather, then that energy amplifies so much more. And yes, we crave that. And a lot of times negative people are drawn to people who have a lot of light, right? It's kind of like moths to the flame, and then they end up plugging into the energy of a light worker. And I teach my students, it's not about judgment, it's about using our discernment. And I call the auric field around us sacred real estate, because it's important for us to honor our auric field and understand that energy goes out several feet, depending on how we learn to manage that auric field.
There are people out there that have witnessed me. I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I do lead by example. There are many people that have seen me at a restaurant, in a group of people, and when somebody starts talking shit, I will go, I'm out, and I'll walk away. I'll leave them stand right there. I'm not here to change you, but I'm not part of this.
100%.
I don't, no.
Yes.
I don't have time for it. I don't care about it. And chances are you will never speak to me again, because
Right.
I'm not going to come up to you and say, how's it going? I'm not going to get sucked into that. I
Absolutely.
lead by example. I really do. I've pissed some people off
That's
with
okay.
that, but,
That's okay. It's important to protect your energy. And words, just our thoughts have a vibrational frequency, but
they
words,
do.
when someone is spewing words like that, we do not want to allow it into our awareness.
How I want your advice on this. I work on this every day. How do we remove the mask? How do we let our true selves shine through?
I like to start the day in gratitude and learning to work with the throat chakra too. Speaking our truth, Jimmy, so many people say, well, don't be rude to that person. And like you said, people probably would think you were being rude by saying, just stop, I don't want to hear it. But no, that's protecting our energy field, and it's actually speaking our truth. And the more that we do speak our truth, then the authentic core of who we are shines out. And yeah, it's going to piss some people off, and everybody's not going to resonate with everybody's message, and everybody's not going to resonate with everybody's energy. And that's okay. It's all frequency. What's important is our own individual frequency and finding joy in the moments of life.
You can change somebody's life by changing their day, by changing their minute at that moment. I think that is so crucial. And you know what? I kind of get off on it in a weird way. and if I do it, if I'm around, I like tipping. I like tipping a lot.
Yeah.
Tipping people that really maybe haven't even done anything for me. But I like doing that in front of other people so they can see, because you watch somebody's face when you do that, and the gratitude that happens, it doesn't affect me, but it
Right.
affects them.
Absolutely.
It's man,
Yeah.
let me just say this
Yeah.
before I want to hold that thought. I've been getting a lot of dental work done. The cat is out of the bag on this. And so last week, I've been spending a day in the chair for a couple of months, a day a week in the chair. And so last week, I'm going to the pharmacy to get some prescriptions filled. And I go up, it's next to the dentist's office. I go up and there's this older gentleman sitting there, and it's cold, it's raining. Anybody knows now what day of the week it rained this week. It rained for 2 days, so you know what day this was. This just happened. And it's cold, it's windy, it's rainy, it's nasty. And this guy is sitting out in the rain in front of the store, trying to get out of the rain. And as I get it, he goes, "Hey man, can you get me something to eat?" I said, "You know what? Let's go." "What do you mean?" "Let's go. I'll get you whatever you want right now." And he stands up, and he was surprised. Okay. How many people are walking past him all day long and don't notice him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He's invisible. And suddenly this guy in this Harley t-shirt in a black Jeep pulls up. I'm not the guy, I don't fit that mold. Anyway,
Right.
I brought him in and I let that guy go to town, and I kept going back, and I said something to him. I said, "Hey man, how about a bag of chips?" He goes, "I got no teeth." It was awesome. Anyway, that guy got 2 bags of groceries.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Now, does that affect me? No, but do your part, do your little thing and change somebody's day.
But it does affect you too. But the beauty is that you're not doing it for that purpose, Jimmy. You're doing it from a pure heart, but it does affect you. It raises your own vibrational frequency because quantum entanglement teaches us that we're all connected, right? And what I tell people too, even a smile costs nothing, a compliment costs nothing. I love going out in public and complimenting someone on what they're wearing, or their own smile, or their aura. I read auras, and I'll tell them, "Your aura is just absolutely beautiful," and their face lights up, and it shifts their own day. And look how simple that could be for each person to do that.
Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest with you. I drove away in my Jeep laughing. That was awesome. Because I
Yeah.
thank you, universe. Thank you. I'm serious. I'm in my car. I'm saying thank you, universe, for giving me that gift.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 2 bags of groceries. Okay. Yeah. Is that the gift? No.
No.
The gift was to me,
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
seize that opportunity. A little bit at a time. If everybody just did just a little bit, imagine the frequency shift on this planet.
Humongous. We would not even recognize, because that's the energy of the 5th dimension. And so you're steeped in that energy, Jimmy, every day. You've integrated that frequency, and it's so simple. I teach those tools, but everybody can learn this. It's so simple to integrate 5th dimension. It's a keyword, it's a buzzword, but in actuality, it's a frequency, right? It's a state of being. That's what it is.
Yeah, for sure. In your book, Manifesting Your Magic in the 5D, you coined the term life. What is life?
Life is limitless information for everyone. And that's what we have access to when we can learn to shift our energy to the quantum, or to the superconscious. Some people call it the quantum. I feel like it's the same, but it's the collective. And it's where the most amazing information comes through because we're all connected to that energy. It's where a lot of works of art are creative from tapping into that. Because if you think about it, when we access that field, it is limitless information. And it's not about this is mine and this is yours. That's a 3rd dimensional energy. And the 5th dimension in the new earth is all about the we and the unity and understanding that we're all connected. And the easy way to get there is just as what you were talking about, Jimmy, is these simple acts of kindness and really seeing each other and loving each other, no matter what color, race, religion, gender, none of that matters. We're all humans on this journey together.
To some, that sounds too woke and too spiritual, too crystals, too. And look at me. I'm sitting here. I always have my quartz and my meteorite right in front of me as I say something like that. But to some, that's exactly what that sounds like. It's too woke. It's too this. It's too that. But the ancients have been connected this way for thousands and thousands of years. This is nothing new, is it?
No, it's not. And if we even go back to, as early as Native American history, think about that the Native Americans had rituals, and they would come together in their communities, and everybody played the role for the collective of the tribe, right?
Yeah, 100%. I have noticed something that I thought I used to think it was bullshit, but my understanding now through learning about what dictates the construction of a site at that particular place geographically, what's going on. And I used to ignore that. Like, they just built it. Well, not necessarily. And when you go and you visit these sites and you then suddenly realize, especially as you're walking up, because you walk up and feel normal. And then all of a sudden, what? Right? And the talk of a vortex or a portal or ley lines, it sounds so woo-woo until you experience it. And I am fully convinced that the ancients were so connected to Mother Earth that they found that spot. They drew an X in the dirt with their finger and said, "Man, it's going right here." This is, and you go to these locations, don't you? You do retreats.
Yes, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. I mean, they did. They were connected. They were connected to the galactics as well. And, when you like you said, until you experience it for yourself, until you walk into one of these sacred sites and feel the energy there of the stones. And then, stones hold an energy as well. So the wisdom is locked into these ancient stones, and even the rocks and the land on these ancient sites. It's just life-changing. Everyone really should, I invite you to put that on your bucket list. Go to one of Jimmy's retreats, experience that, because that alone, that one experience will truly shift your life permanently. I mean, the people that have gone on my retreats to Stonehenge and Glastonbury and Sedona literally have said their life was not the same once they experienced those energies.
What was Stonehenge like?
Oh my goodness. Well, I've led retreats there multiple times, but this last year, we were there during the summer solstice, and we were inside of Stonehenge during the sunset of summer solstice, and it was amazing. Oh my gosh. I'm talking about, I have chills, just people from all over the world drumming, people in druid attire.
They take it to next level. They do.
It was next level. And
sure.
Tears. I did a live on my Instagram. Tears are just going down my face because you cannot even, it's palpable, the love and the energy and that connection, that unity, and to be in the middle of Stonehenge and experience that. And then for the sunrise, we were at the top of the tour in Glastonbury. Have you gone to the top of the tour, Jimmy?
I haven't. And I also, I've been to the UK, but top of my list is Avebury.
Oh yeah.
I've got to get that out of the way. And probably 2026. I'm doing Easter Island in 2026. I'm very excited about that. I haven't been there. But Glastonbury. And next, also in 2026, I'm pulling off 2 different remote locations. I'm going to Iceland and I'm going to Australia. And those are not
Awesome.
going to be tours. I'm going to just do this by myself with a couple of friends.
Beautiful. Are you going to go to Ayers Rock in Australia?
Well, I've got many friends out there that are going to be pulling me in every direction.
Yeah.
So the short answer is probably yes.
Yeah. Yes. Beautiful. That's a PowerPoint for
Yeah,
sure.
I can't wait. And I'm still going to go back to Peru. I can't get enough of Peru. I would like to find the time to get back to Egypt. I've been the
Mhm.
last couple of years. But it's kind of weird. I've gotten it out of the way. But Peru is something altogether different. I don't think most people understand how spiritual it is and how much is there. You know,
Yeah.
it's everywhere, you know, and it's impossible. It would take you 365 days to visit every potential site in Peru. It's like that. It's crazy.
Oh, that's insanity. So, Lake Titicaca is actually the sacral chakra of Mother Earth. Oh, did
No,
you?
it's
Yeah.
so special. Not only the temple sites and the stuff that's there and the mythology, the mythic side of Titicaca, tremendous. No question about it. It's the indigenous people that live on the floating islands. You go out there and to experience, and when you hear about it the first time, I've done it a few times now. And I'm going to be doing it again in a couple of months. I cannot wait. You hear floating islands. You don't get it. You don't understand. And so what they do, I'll make this very brief. They take the reeds, they tie them together in these bundles, and then they take those bundles and they tie those together and tie those together until they have a round floating island. And each one has maybe 4 or 5 homes on it. And they live there. And these are, and each island has got like its own mayor. And there's hundreds of them. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And
Oh my gosh.
it's insane.
I've
It's
never heard of
insane.
that.
Yeah. And
Wow.
the children, I mean, I've just hung out and just watched the total absence of the clutter that we have in our lives. They don't have any of that.
You know, and that's one of my favorite things about visiting other cultures and other countries, Jimmy, because people mainly in the United States can't comprehend that other places don't have the same chaotic energy and the same chaos. It's just pure heart energy. And for the most part, people are happier and joyful.
Here is, I'm just going to pull this up just to give you an idea of what I am talking about. And it's just absolutely nuts. All right. Let me, there's lots of pictures here, but let me see if I can find something that will give you an idea. Yeah, this is good enough. And you know, and you see this, you can hear about it, and I'm telling you about it, and all of that. But when you see this for real, and you see these people living this way, it's a life-changing thing to see, because we are so used to freeways, life, cubicles, that kind of thing, and we just don't understand. That's what they
wow.
look like.
Oh, wow.
So these are reeds, and those are tied together in bundles, and you can see the little homes that are on the top. That's a reed boat in the background. This is all indigenous stuff, and this is it.
Wow.
Look in the background. Those are islands all tied together in the background.
And then
And
do they grow their food on the island? I mean,
a
how?
lot of fishing,
Yeah, well, yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
fishing,
Yeah.
a lot of fishing. But so you go when you you experience that, and there's a connectiveness to Mother Earth, and they are not cluttered down with modern life. Now they've got boats, they can go to town, they can go to the city, and they do.
Mm-hmm.
I am sure that some of them have direct TV, they generators on these. There's no electricity,
Wow.
so you know what I mean. Are they ignoring? No, there's that, but no, they are raised, their lifestyle, their kids, all of that are raised on these little islands. And like I said, there's like 5 houses on each one. It's crazy.
That's amazing. I love that. I would love to experience that.
When you pull up on a boat, right? And you pull up and you park, and they all line up on the edge, and they're all smiling, and they're
Aw.
being visited, and it's great, man. And you get off and you're and it's it's reeds. They're like 4 feet long. And so the top half is dry. Everything is wet. Okay. So forget about that. But anyway, when you're walking, you can feel it move under your feet. Yeah. It's
Oh,
crazy. It's
wow.
nuts, man. It's
So
nuts.
so that's
And
actually on Lake Titicaca?
it's like half of Lake Titicaca.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole indigenous culture, and protected, and yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's pretty
That's
crazy.
incredible. Beautiful.
And I love that connectiveness, and the ability to experience a monolithic site. Yeah, spiritual, absolutely. Things happen. To think of how the cultures pulled all of this stuff off. Okay, but you can't talk to anybody about how this was done. How did you guys move these stones? How did you guys carve? Nobody's got answers. Nobody knows. We don't know anything about the Great Pyramid.
Right.
You can go to these islands where they've been living like this forever. You follow me?
Yes.
That's the trippy part, man. They'll answer all your questions. It's
Wow.
nuts, man. It's crazy.
I
Really
love
cool.
that. Very cool.
And staying on this for a second, I see in my own daughters a level of intelligence that you and I didn't have when we were kids.
Yes.
They're different today, aren't they?
They are different. And I actually love working with younger people, and even that was the first thing that I channeled, Jimmy, in 2014, was about the children that started incarnating in 2015. They called them the Golden Ray children in my channeling. But yes, I mean, going back and looking at the different generations of children, they're just different. And each type of starseed is very, very different as well. And it's fascinating.
What do you think is causing it? I mean, look, I think the internet has a lot to do with technology, I should say, has
Yes.
a lot to do with the shift in DNA, but just one generation. You and I are still alive. You and I, when we were 5, were making mud pies.
Yes.
5-year-olds today, that's a whole nother party, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of it is tied into the AI and the technology and all of that. And, but it depends too if they are incarnated as star seeds, because they have very different interest as well. But yes, it's very, very different. And, I've kind of looked into the future to see what that connection is going to be like in 20, 40, 50 years.
Well, I don't normally do this, but this post just popped up in the chat. And so now we have star seeds, but now we've got all these subcategories. And I'm doing another show this week on this. I'm fascinated with it. But what's the difference between, I don't mean to be naive, but I just don't know. What's the difference between crystal, rainbow, and indigo star seeds?
Yeah, well, the book I'm writing now, it's called Children of the New Earth. And I started channeling about these kids in 2014. And again, I wasn't able to have children myself. So my human brain was like, why am I going to be writing a book and channeling about these children when I don't even have biological children? And my guide said, well, you were a psychic kid yourself and you agreed you can help parents. So it's the indigos. And then the crystal children started coming in pretty much in the 90s, going into the 2000s. And the indigos, we were more of the warriors, the pioneers. We kind of helped shift awareness and consciousness, but like in a little bit of a more of an aggressive way, or more in your face. And then the crystal children came in and they started literally doing it more from a healing capacity. But the difference with the crystal and the rainbow children, they chose parents who didn't necessarily have to be awake and aware. But then when you get into the blue rays, the diamond rays, and then as far as I know, I'm the first one that channeled about the golden ray children. They started coming in 2015, and they've never had lifetimes on planet Earth, but they're a very evolved soul. And so they just, I could talk about this forever, but I'm writing an entire book about it, and it's fascinating.
So it's generational, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Indigos were first. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yes. The indigos pretty much predominantly started incarnating in the 50s and 60s, and again, you look back at the trailblazers and the pioneers and a lot of different movements. And yeah, you can find the indigos. I'm an indigo. You're an indigo, Jimmy.
Am I? So
Absolutely.
Linda Moulton Howe, indigo?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to ask her about that. About that.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's pioneers, it's way showers. That's what I call them in my book. They're way showers. We're the ones who really stepped out and started talking about a lot of this.
Okay, so let's go in order. We'll close out with this. So just see, I'm learning. Now I can hang in one of these starseed conversations. I'm lost. These starseed conversations, man, and I've got friends that I love and adore. They get into these conversations, and I can't participate. No, I just go, oh, okay. Okay, so indigo first, and then what was next?
Crystal,
and then
rainbow,
then
the blue rays, which most people aren't even aware of those, and then the diamond rays, and I'm writing and channeling about the golden rays, and they started incarnating in 2015.
So golden rays are the newest.
They're the newest, except I actually channeled about in 2025, the solar rays are coming in, and they're very, very connected to the energy of the sun. And that's fascinating as well. So I've just been the first one channeling about that. But the golden rays, again, they are very disconnected from other humans. So you're going to notice these kids that are kind of like, the geekier ones or the loners. They're really into technology. They're connected to the animal kingdom. I channeled one who was still in utero. Her parents came to see me, and the daughter was still in the womb when I talked to her soul, and it was amazing. And she gave me so much information, and the parents emailed me 4 years later and started saying all of that. Her daughter is exhibiting that. And just one quick example, when she was still in utero, she was talking about that the golden rays would have an affinity with wild animals, that there would be no fear there, and that the wild animal kingdom would recognize them and not have fear of them as humans. And so she told me about an instance when her daughter was 4. She was in the backyard. This is in North Carolina. And a bear comes walking into the backyard, and this bear bowed down to her daughter in reverence. I mean, is that amazing?
I a few years ago, I was at a conference, and I had some parents come up to me and say they wanted me to meet their daughter. Daughter was like 4 or 5 years old, and the parents tell me at first, or I think it was the mother, and the daughter was standing away from me with her father, right? And the mother approached me, and the mother says, "We're not into this stuff," right? But the first things when she started to learn how to talk were about the planet she came from and how she got here. I said, "Oh, okay, what? Okay." And so we don't know, but would you like to meet her?
Oh my! Oh
And I
yes,
said, yeah, yeah, yeah. So they bring her over, and so I sit down with her and her parents, and I'm listening. I mean, she's like
yeah,
little, and I'm listening to her. She's very sweet. She's very cool, but I'm listening to her talk, and I'm thinking to myself, I know nothing. I don't know where she's going to be as an adult,
oh
but the talk of physics, faster than light travel, and folding space, and consciousness, and 21 dimensions, and
yeah,
like, right, what? It was nuts. And
yeah,
so I before I go and say that this stuff is real, I don't know. But I can only tell you my experience in speaking with her. And her parents said, would you have her on the show? I said, no, I'm not. She needs to grow up and things. I'm not going to be part of thrusting her into that kind of limelight and criticism and
yeah.
everything else. Just let her do her thing, and we'll talk in a few years.
Perfect.
But yeah.
How many years
Yeah,
ago
it
was
was
that?
it's before the pandemic, so probably
Okay.
2019. I can't
Okay.
believe it's 2025 now.
I know.
But yeah, I'm going to say it was around 2019, 2020, right in there. But yeah, wow.
I know.
Crazy to me. Just
Yeah, when
nuts.
when the parents come up and say the same thing, "Do you want to meet them?" It's like, of course. Why would we not want to meet these amazing children that are not from here? They're just fascinating.
Yeah, yeah, unbelievable. It was, and uh, I don't. I try to remain objective. I do. I just try to remain objective. I try to listen to everybody because I've seen myself personally too much crazy stuff that it sounds truly unbelievable, like I'm lying and I'm making it up. So if I share those experiences with others, I have to hopefully get the same respect back that I give to everybody. But the other part is, um, the world is a crazy place. The universe is crazy, and we don't have the answers. And that's it. So when you talk to somebody that young, that is saying these things. Where is that coming from? I don't know. I truly don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. It makes me the whole junk DNA is something else being activated there. I don't know. I truly don't know. But that doesn't change the conversation that I had with her. It was mind blowing.
Absolutely. And even the children too that are remembering their past lives at, 3, 4, 5 years old, there's no way they could have studied that. And when you're able to look back and find the name and there's one that was in the war that was, I believe, a pilot, and it's just, there's no way they could make it up.
Yeah. I've done shows on that family. Absolutely incredible. Jill, where can everybody chase you down? JillMJackson.com. That's the easiest? You're easy to get to?
Yes, www.JillMJackson.com.
Thank you so much. And I look forward to our next conversation. It was a perfect night on the show. Thank you, Jill.
I loved it. Thank you so much, Jimmy. And I look forward to coming back.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your evening. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Perfect night. Jill M. Jackson with us. Her links are below on our website and throughout social media. So with that, I am going to just, keep it simple and say, go back, Lee Tappy. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Free. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go back, Lee Tappy.